Hi everyone, welcome to the Path to Reason. I'm your host Sini Plaza, and tonight we're going to talk about why the entire West, meaning the Europe, US mainly, um, why all those countries are moving to the far right. We're going to talk about 5 points. And if you have any question or remark, or do you think I forgot something, don't hesitate to say so in the comments. Before we start, I'd like to say hi to Escalon, who's always there to support me. Thanks a lot. And anyone who's going to show up either tonight or later. So, um, the first point is that the left, if we can say that, the left has no fight to lead anymore. In the 1900s, we fought for the right for women to vote. We fought for unions, even in the US, even though the result didn't pay off that much. We fought for social security. We fought for what else? For many things: abortion, decriminalization of homosexuality, and all that. And today, even though there are a lot of struggles still being going on, especially in the US, there is no topic big enough to mobilize an entire part of the population, like it was the case for the examples I talked about earlier. So we, when I say we, I mean the people leaning left don't have anything to unite behind, whereas on the right they do a lot, and pretty much everything the left gained is a talking point for the right, and the rally cry, basically, whether it's abortion, whether it's social security, immigration, everything that was once acquired is being fought by the right, and those talking points, they are heavy. They can mobilize a lot of population. Look at the abortion talk in the US. It's still being discussed, still being fought on both sides, because the right and the conservative and religious right, they are trying hard to get rid of it. So yes, that's the first main point, is that the left doesn't have any fight to lead anymore, contrary to the right. And yes, Askelan, that's why the left-leaning parties are useless, because we're seeing it all over the world, whether it's in the US or in Europe. The left parties are slowly dying out. And one of the main reasons is because they have hard time keeping people to vote for them. And if you don't have any talking point, any topic to rally people behind you, then it's very hard to keep them and keep them voting for you. So we saw in France, for example, how the left, the kind of two left parties are currently dying out, because the candidate they're proposing for the next presidential election, which takes place in about a month from now, those candidates pretty much don't have any program first, but then any chance of winning, and so that's a bit scary, because people who don't vote for the left, then they will vote for someone else. The second topic I wanted to talk about is the overtone window. So we talked about it several times on this channel. The overtone window is what's acceptable by a society during a specific time. So, for example, abortion is at the very, very edge of the overtone window in the US because it's still being fought for and against. Whereas in, let's say, in Belgium, it's in the very middle. No one's talking about it. So yeah, he's not very, very much. He doesn't like being taken. He wants his freedom. So yeah, it's very hard to keep him in the arms. So yeah, it's that's the overtone window, and we've seen and I've seen it specifically in France, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happened also in the US by Fox News especially. But it is possible to act to move the overtone window. If you want an idea to be more accepted, even though this idea is pretty fringe at the moment, then you send people on TV, on social media, and you make them speak about it a lot. And at some point, then what wasn't acceptable to be talked about, well, thanks to repetition and thanks to exposition, then it will move slowly inside the window. And so it's much more easy and doable to move the overtone window on the right, because, as I said earlier, there are a lot of things that we perceive as very bad as a society. Most of them are on the right, whether it's autocracy, whether it's Nazism, whether it's all those dangerous ideologies, including Christofascism. All of them are on the right, and we don't have the only big thing that would be on the left is communism, but there is pretty much no communist country on the planet today, except maybe for North Korea, but then it's hard to say. But Russia is definitely not a communist country. China neither. Maybe Cuba was partially, but they're moving out slowly. So yeah, communism would be the only big force that could pull the overtone window on the left. But since there's no one left to push for this ideology, then that's what happens. We also see that because of that, or linked to that, we saw that people who are trying to push the overtone window to the right, they have not a single care in the world to play dirty. They don't care about misrepresenting other people's position. They don't care about inventing other people's position. I've seen again Fox News doing so in the last couple of days. They trying to make up a total invented outrage, and so all those techniques that are intellectually dishonest, most people on the right don't care about using them. Rewriting history, denying history, all this is playing dirty in face of reality and critical thinking. But the far right doesn't mind using all those techniques because they want this overtone window to move. The third point is billionaires. So most billionaires in the world, they tend to be relatively old, 60 and older. And at this age, people naturally tend to be more conservative. Because as we grow old, the brain loses its plasticity, some of its plasticity, and it's getting harder and harder to learn new things. And so the brain resists more and more to learning new things, especially when those things contradict with your entire worldview. You can change your mind about your neighbor being a good person or not, but changing your mind about the fact that being gay is not a choice, that's much harder to accept. And so all those billionaires, they now have enough money and enough power to enforce their vision of the world by whether by is it by buying politicians or making laws enforced or avoiding some things to be happening. They have the money to do whatever they want, and they use it. We see it in France, for example. Most of the I think it's 90% of the press is owned by three billionaires, and that's that's dangerous. But you also see that almost all of them have very, very conservative views. And in any case, they're trying to do everything they can to keep their money and earn more. So they will resist to any change in the current situation, the current law, the current mind of the population, the spirit, the mentality of a country. They will try to shape it in the way they want to make sure changes never comes for them. And so those big fortunes, they spend billions every year to enforce their right-wing views. Because again, we don't have communist billionaires because that's not supposed to exist. We all have hyper-capitalistic fortunes. They are built on a very, very capitalistic world with as little reservations and protections as possible for the customers, for the people, for the environment. And so they put a lot of money in this. For example, in the last 15 years, both Christian evangelists in the US and Orthodox in Russia spent around 750,000 millions, and they gave all this money to very small groups in Europe, like Poland, France, all those countries where there is still a fight between left and right, and they've been giving this money to very, very conservative groups, like religious groups, anti-LGBTQ groups, all these things. They pour money into those groups so that they keep the fight going. And we see the effects of that with some very fringe groups that have been growing much more quickly than normally. So yeah, these billionaires, they are having a huge effect on pushing the balance towards the far right. The fourth point is it's I don't know how to bring it. It's the far right tends to get a lot of votes and a lot of attraction and a lot of public, thanks to providing very, very simple solutions to the current problems. And of course, those solutions are not actual solutions, they're just they're just traps. But they are very, very good at claiming that problems are simple, and so the solutions are simple, and they will provide the solutions. Like we can stop immigration, we can leave the European Union for some far right parties in France. We can what else? Yeah, Eric Zemmour was talking about how he didn't want to give any protection to any minority, whether it's gay people, trans people, even women. He doesn't want them to have any protection under the law. So they provide simple solutions to people, and that works. And again, since there are not enough people on the left trying to do the same, then the population slowly moves to the right. And those politicians that were once on the left, they're slowly moving as well to the right. About 10 days ago, there was this French guy. He was high in the centrist party in France, the Modem, and he was on TV talking about the Ukrainian immigration, and he said something like, "Yeah, but these Ukrainians, they're high level immigration. They're not maybe not all of them, but most of them are scientists, they're artists. So it will be a very good quality immigration. So we should take them in." And that's, I mean, that's one of the most cynical things I've ever heard. First, because he said that about 4 or 5 days into the invasion, but also because you don't care about them fleeing a war. You don't care about them leaving behind their family. You don't care about anything human. You only care about what they can bring to your country. And the subtext of this is that, yeah, those white people are coming with us. They have the same European culture, so most of them are Christians, so we can take them in, as opposed to all those people coming from Africa or the Middle East or those countries, because people are brown and they're not exactly like us. So yeah, it's scary to watch this unfold in real time, because it feels like there's nothing we can do. We see all those people and all those talking points slowly moving to the right, and I honestly don't know how we can work against that. We can talk about it. That's what I do. But yeah, it's scary, because at the same time, those people who tend to offer simple solutions, they also tend to have some autocratic tendencies. So once you are very strong on the populist agenda, it's very, very easy to start seeing yourself as the only one who has the truth and the only one who has the solution to solve the country's problem, and that leads to autocracy. And that's why Putin has such a huge following in the US and even in Europe. The UK, for example, has delayed all everything that has been voted in sanction to Putin or people around him, the UK has put a hold on it. And because there's a lot of Russian money in UK's politicians. So there's this attraction to what is perceived as strong people because they know what they're talking about. They know the solutions to the problems because they see the problems as supposedly they are, meaning simple, and so they propose simple solutions. And so that's why Putin and Trump and Zemmour and Boris Johnson and Bolsonaro and all those people, that's why they have so much following. That's at least one of the reasons why they have so much following. Because projecting strength is a good way to attract people who don't know how to solve really the problems of our world. And there are a lot of them. So yeah, last point is more towards science. We are tribal creatures. As humans, we are a social species, we're a social animal, and we tend to look after people who look like us much, much more than people who don't look like us. If you haven't, I suggest you look into Robert Sapolsky. He does a lot of videos and he talks about this. And he talked about it a couple of weeks ago when the invasion started. And he explains that we are programmed to care more about people who are close to us than people who are far from us. And the more people are different from us, like skin color, like traditions, like beliefs, the more they scare us. And so because of that, we tend to stay together with people like us. And that's one of the very, very primary talking points of the far right is nationalism. Nationalism is just tribalism at its peak. So it's like we are special. The other ones around, they're not like us. We're better than them, and so because of that, we need to stay together. And that creates conflict, that creates hate, that creates discriminations, that creates all of this. But it's also one of the foundations of far-right ideology. It's only people like us understand what we go through. Only people like us should be able to live where we live. And we see that a lot in the US, in France, in the Netherlands also. There is a strong, but small but strong far-right movement, and they base their entire discourse on this nationalism, or ultra-nationalism, as we call it sometimes in French. And this is the bricks on which all the other talking points are built on. It's very, very easy to talk about nationalism because it appeals to something that's inherent to humans. All the rest, everything else I talked about tonight, it's important, but it's not innate in humans. It's something that we've been working on, or something that happened because of the evolution of our societies. But this is what humans are. We are tribalistic, and that's very, very, very hard to fight. So as Conan says, it happened rather insidiously here too. First, the nationalists rallied support from independence, then that started sliding into Scotland First conversations. Yes, that's the same path. And yeah, they gave the oligarchs a good long notice period. Yes, and I hope that will have an impact. Although I think by the time the conflict ends, this will have been forgotten, like many other things they did, unfortunately. But yes, so this these are the 5 points I wanted to talk about. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. I'm here to answer. If you think I forgot something, or if you think that I'm totally wrong, then just by all means send me a message. Um, I'll respond. I'll try to get my cat to come to the camera. And we'll see how it goes. So look into him because it won't last very, very long. So this is Simba, the oldest of my two cats, and he's gone. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this show. Thank you for being here, whoever the second on watching the show is. If you like the channel, please like, subscribe, share. Everything you do helps. I don't have a Patreon. I don't have a monetized channel because I don't want to. But if you want to help my channel, you can find in the link tree below my Amazon wishlist, in which you can buy books, which will help me improve this channel and educate me on different topics. In the meantime, tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Central, there is another episode of Women Atheist Unload, which I will host. We will have some amazing guests: Andy Hall, Eric Murphy, Cynthia McDonald, and Kyle Morrison. And we're going to talk about humor and minorities. What can we laugh about and what can we not? So I think this one is going to be really, really good. So please tune in. And in the meantime, I wish you all a very good weekend and see you